Madison, one thing I've learned since living in Nebraska is that calm Decembers lead to active Januaries when it comes to these winter storms. Now, the National Weather Service is predicting that Hastings will see anywhere between 5 to 13 inches of snow. But we all know weather can change in instants. Emery Conrad decided that college wasn't for her, but like many people in her family, she knew she wanted to own her own business. So she bought Goody Pop in downtown York. We're here at 14th and Turner, where you can see a police presence behind me. And if you come to my left here, you'll be able to see where parts of a police car was broken off, and that's because someone came through with a front loader. The Grand Island Fire Department responded to a call around 3:20 p.m. for a train versus pedestrian incident. Having a good time is kind of how Ray Aguilar is doing it. He's keeping it calm and mellow as he's confident that he will be reelected because he says he is the right man for the job, and there's still a lot of work to do. There's a plane dropping water on this fire, and you mentioned before there's been drought. We have been going a long time without rainwater to kind of make the ground saturated to avoid these fires. Around 9 p.m., an apparent fire was reported out here in Aurora at the ethanol plant. Now, if I step back, you can see there has been many speculations going on about what happened here at Hastings Aqua Court that caused it to close early. But here's what we know. I'm here in downtown Hastings where city officials and police are out here on scene as part of this building collapse behind me. And most people remember that this building has been vacant since the 2022 Burt Pharmacy fire. I'm here in Kingswood Plaza where a trailer caught on fire, and as you can see in the back of me, crews are still cleaning out this trailer, checking for any fires. Smoke was ventilating and coming out, and there's insulation right there by the step. 1 mile every hour for 24 hours. As another group of walkers and joggers are taking off now, this is a way to raise money for the Michaela Mui Fuller Memorial Scholarship. She has attained her bachelor's and her master's from Hastings College. The National Weather Service says that we can see anywhere between 5 to 9 inches of snow. Now, that snow will be accumulating over the day, making visibility hard, and also it will be making travel conditions slick. Survivorship 101 focuses on helping cancer survivors reclaim their best life by talking about body, mind, and spirit. Now, how will they do that? There will be talks about how the body heals, how to recover emotionally, and learning about diet and exercise. Chief Story says the Aqua Court was fully staffed with lifeguards when the incident occurred. He says the video surveillance shows a 6-minute span where the youth started in the shallow end, which is approximately 5 feet, before going to the deep end, which is approximately 13 feet and does not resurface. Palmer hosted Triangular competing against Heartland Lutheran and Burwell, but they also were hosting a fundraiser called Spikes for Sutton. It's a part of McKenna and Lane Model's National Honor Society service project to help raise money for Sutton Hake, a 5-year-old kindergartner battling leukodystrophy, which impacts the white matter of the brain. The concept of Spikes for Sutton is to get businesses to donate as little as $1 for every spike.
I kind of took a lot of inspiration from when we hosted a Shots for Sutton, which was kind of similar to this. A couple of seniors last year did that. And Mrs. Hake was my kindergarten teacher, and that was her first, I was part of her first kindergarten class, so she's always been near and dear to my heart.
Spikes for Sutton raised $5,000, and they also raised a few $100s in their Split the Pot fundraiser. They also held free will donations for those taking home old yearbooks. Sutton also receives a lot of love and acceptance from kids at school.
The kids at our school are great to him. Sometimes they're overwhelming to him because they want to help do everything, but we do try to get him to do as much as he can himself, but they're just like brothers and sisters to him, and they want to do anything they can to help.
Sutton's mother, Whitney Hake, says having a child with an incurable disease has changed how she looks at life.
We don't really sweat the small stuff anymore. We definitely look at the big picture. We hope we're educating others in our community on that as well. You know, when you look at a child like Sutton, you realize how short life can be, and how hard life can be for others.
Because of leukodystrophy, Sutton gets very distracted with tasks. Whitney Hake just hopes hearing Sutton's story will educate the public on this rare disease that impacts about 1 out of 4,700 live births. Reporting from Palmer, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News. When it comes to the essentials in life, we always think of things like food, water, and sunlight. But childcare is just as essential.
You both have to be sweet to one another. Do you understand?
Carol Ginsmer has been providing in-home childcare since 1981 and says this is the 4th generation of kids she's caring for. She also expressed what's the biggest need for childcare providers.
Having a nice educational environment, that takes a lot of supplies and a lot of time to go through your classes and stuff. And actually, these kids need the best education they can from newborn on up to 5 and beyond. And if they can get it right now, this is the most important, critical time to have it.
Rinky hopes the donation helps improve each facility.
Well, we hope, obviously, that they will invest into their facilities. We hope that it provides some stability financially for each one of the centers, so that they stay in business long term. And maybe it might incentivize others to maybe think about doing this because there is a child care, shortage in the area.
Investing in child care providers does more than help them financially.
It helps the morale just knowing that somebody is caring enough to say, hey, this is important with what you do and these children, and putting it into there. So if you could put a little bit more like organization or more tools, like you see all my crafts and stuff, not just here in Deshler, but clear across the nation. Everybody needs that support.
Ginsmer says everyone must work together to help child care providers survive. Daycares are essential to life because they teach kids life skills. Kids, what is the saying that Miss Carol always tells you guys?
Sharing is caring and sharing is loving.
That's right. Reporting from Deshler, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News.
Next thing I know, we look outside and there's a bobcat driving through the park, and there's a sheriff's truck right here by the tree, and that bobcat just keeps backing up and trying to knock it over. Like, it hit it like 4 times. And that's when my husband told me to get my baby because they were probably going to start shooting.
Some residents found out about the incident as they were coming home from Celebration of Lights.
My thoughts was scary. It was like what was going to happen next because there was police cars all around. And when he left on 14th Street after he got the trooper truck really ruined, then he went west and saw him following another police car.
One resident couldn't believe how serious this incident became.
Man, it was crazy. I inside, and my dad came and he was like, "Jonah, come here. There's a guy in a skid loader that the cops are chasing." I was like, "What?" And at first, I just kind of thought it was like this funny thing because he was running in a skid loader, and then he started like ramming the cops, and then of course the shots went off, and I was like, "Oh, this is more serious than I thought it was."
Jonah and his dad saw the pursuit progressively intensify.
We came right out in the front, and then we saw him like ram the light pole and everything, and then we saw the police told us to get in our house, and we have a back door window, so we could, like, we kind of went in the backyard, we could see back there, and we saw the guy walk up and tried to shoot at him, and I was like, oh geez.
According to Hastings Police Department, the incident is still under investigation. Reporting to Hastings, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News. GIPD is collecting school supplies to distribute to Grand Island Public Schools and Northwest Public Schools. Chief Kevin Denny says giving back is something we should always do as a community. For the police department, it's a way to show their appreciation to the community that supports them. And the community has some takeaways from this event.
That we shouldn't, especially to the kids, they shouldn't be afraid to come close to a police, and if they see something, report something.
Police officers are fathers, sons, husbands, and most of all, people who live in the same communities that they serve.
Seeing people in a normal setting like this and engaging with them is terrific, because police officers normally, when they're working, they're going to see people at their worst moment, some people at their worst moment. But this gives us an opportunity as police officers to engage in a more normal setting and conversational, and it's a great opportunity.
Chief Denny says this event is refreshing because seeing people at their worst moment isn't always who they are. Some attendees expressed what was their favorite activity.
Busting down the door, that was really fun.
What about you?
My favorite has to be this car.
The MRAP?
Yeah, because I feel like it's really talented and it's really big, but it's really hard to get off.
And if you want to be a citizens officer, there are classes in the fall and you can always do a ride along. But for now, I'm gonna breach this door and knock it down. Police! Reporting from Grand Island, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News. When it comes to Hastings Unlimited, score sheets don't matter. Director of Vocal Music Christian Yost says even though he has worked with a lot of the students in Hastings Unlimited, it wasn't enough to know what their individual strengths are, while at the same time learning students he hasn't worked with. Yost has to find out what their capabilities were, because some are mobile and some aren't. He explains what was the biggest challenge.
So I think the biggest learning curve was figuring out how to create a group that each student could be successful at their own level and with their own strengths. And that took a couple weeks to kind of figure out. I had to get to know the kids and get to know what they were comfortable with.
Yost says the best showcase of that was when they had solo auditions and every kid wanted to audition by themselves to sing the solo. Now if you think this choir is just an activity for these kids, you can think again.
We are all best friends and we actually have really amazing students, friends. We probably really good at it, and I hope we actually have this bond with each other, and it's really special to me.
Grace says she likes show choir because she gets to sing and dance. Reporting from Hastings, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News. A new form of planting has entered central Nebraska and is in the form of wool pellets. Wool pellets hold 3 times their weight in water and release healthy nutrients into your soil, such as nitrogen and potassium. Landis Murphy says wool pellets work great in times of drought. She says they are 8% nitrogen and 4% potassium, adding plants will come out bigger and healthier.
I use a 2-step manufacturing process. So first up is a wool shredder. So we take the raw fleece, we don't clean it at all. We put it through the wool shredder and it slices up the fleece into more manageable pieces for a pellet mill. So then the pellet mill is the second step. So it condenses the wool with a roller and die plate mechanism.
Landis Murphy says once that process is complete, you have a wool pellet. She says she gets through 40 pounds of wool per hour, but her ambition doesn't end with operating out of her garage.
Right now, we're a pretty small operation, but we would like to grow into more like market farmers, like small-scale vegetable producers, so they use like 100-foot beds.
Angie Murphy says she worked with another farm last year and her wool pellets produce more than ordinary growing seeds. Landis Murphy chose the name Kestrel Ridge because Kestrel is a small falcon, and just like her, is small but mighty. Reporting from Lawrence, Leroy Triggs, Local 4 News.